Hey guys, and welcome to the video. If you haven't already, please click below and hit the subscribe so you can stay up to date with all my latest content, and it really helps me to get out there, helps the YouTube algorithm move some pieces around to make sure my videos get front of mind, and that really helps me to grow my channel as well. So appreciate any of the love there, guys. We talk a lot about the ins and outs of beginning investing, but let's take it back to some of those key things that you have to have in place before you start investing. One, to give you the confidence to invest, and two, to make sure you're not putting yourself into too much of a risky position. There's a saying that goes around, invest only the money that you're willing to lose. And this is 100% true. If you invest money that you need, you'll be in for a lot of anxiety over having that money in the markets. Financial markets need time to grow, so if you've got money invested in them, you don't want to be pulling that money out or trying to touch those resources. You want to let them just develop over time. In order to make sure that the money you have invested is money that you can go without, you need to start tracking your expenses or your cash flow. The ins of your income, salary, side hustles, whatever, and then the outs of your outgoings, and seeing what you have left over afterwards, and that's going to give you the best idea about your unique situation. So this can be done through many things like budgeting apps. I use WeMoney, Fudget. There's heaps of budgeting apps and budgeting software out there. A spreadsheet, or even as simple as just some written notes. Whatever it is for you that helps you to track your expenses, that's what you need to do. From there, you can start looking at or working out a path as to how your money flows in and flows out. Then we look at what's called the bucketing method. And this is what we're going to go over a little bit more about today. It's used primarily in the book The Barefoot Investor by Scott Pape, which if you click just up here, you'll be able to see my review of the book that goes into a bit more further detail. But the principle is a concept of cash flow. The bucket method means having one primary bucket that your take-home pay goes into. This is the same account that you have your fixed expenses. So say things like rent, car payments, electricity, mortgages, whatever is a fixed payment of utilities or housing or anything like that, that's what comes out of that bucket. And this is where you can start to designate other accounts for more specific purposes. So one of them might be a splurge bucket, which you can think of as like your fun money. This is clothes, social events, coffees, whatever's just out of the ordinary. And then there's a bit more of a luxury item for you. So you'd have a separate account that's linked to a card for this. Then you would have something called a smile bucket, which is for more long-term savings, things like a wedding or holidays, anything like that that requires a little bit more long-term planning. And then the most important one is the fire extinguisher bucket. Now, this is the most important when it comes to investing. The fire extinguisher serves as a bit of a backup in case of emergency. So if you have, say, a car emergency, unforeseen bills, or it could be used to pay off maybe bigger debts, this is where the fire extinguisher comes into play. The fire extinguisher gives you the confidence that if absolute shit hits the fan in your life, you've got a bit of a cash stash that you can draw upon rather than drawing down on the money in your investments. And that allows them to continue to grow. A fire extinguisher might have anywhere between sort of 12 to 24 months worth of expenses, depending what sort of circumstances that you're in. Once these accounts are set up, you can start to allocate funds using like a weekly automatic scheduled payments, which you can do from any of your banking app software. And here's some of the ways that you might do them. So 60% of your weekly take-home pay will stay in that original blow bucket where all your expenses come from. 10% you might dedicate to your splurge account, 10% to your smile, and then another 20% per week to your fire extinguisher. Now, once you get up to a certain amount, maybe in your fire extinguisher, the 12, 24 months worth of expenses, then you can start to use those weekly funds towards something else that you would prefer. And then maybe somewhere else in there, if you've got less expenses, you can start to dedicate that money towards your investments. But the main thing is that you've got at least your fixed expenses covered in your blow bucket, and then also you've got a bit of a cash stash in your fire extinguisher account for if there's any emergencies. It would be the worst idea to say, take your rent money and put it into the financial markets, hoping to God that it returns a 20% return in 2 days, and then having to draw that down and potentially even draw down less if it goes down, and then not being able to pay your rent. So only invest money that you're willing to lose. And the first step towards being able to invest your money is actually knowing what your money is doing, how it comes in, and also what's left over after it goes out. So hopefully this video has helped you guys. It is the first step towards investing. Don't even bother learning about investing until you understand your own cash flow, what's coming in, what's going out, what's left over. So thanks for tuning into the video, guys. If you haven't yet, check out some of my other videos, which you can see up here, or subscribe to my channel just under here to help me grow and share my story with more audiences. Thanks, guys.